Hello and welcome back to the quest for knowledge. At least that's what we're going to call this series. This is actually the second episode. The first episode was insert name here. And in this episode, we're going to go ahead and try to build a rocket to do all that EVA stuff, uh, all the EVA science we can. And we're going to go ahead and collect all the science data we can while we're in orbit. And we're going to try to hit all the biomes. So we want to build this craft in such a way that we can bring everything home with us. And obviously, we're going to need all the scientific data we can collect while we're up there. Yeah, that'll work. Alright, let's go ahead and build this. Okay, so we're going to try to get scientific data in low orbit for all the biomes around Kerbin. So to do that, we got to go into what's called a polar orbit. So I'm going to launch towards north or south. And we're going to try to see if we can get this craft ready to, to do what's called a gravity assist. And a gravity assist is done by utilizing the aerodynamics of the fins to keep us pointed at what's at prograde, and then just let prograde guide us into an orbit. Now, I'm not going to turn SAS on for this, so I'll go ahead and throttle up to 2/3 throttle, and we'll launch. Now, once I get to about, oh, see, it's already doing its natural. I'm not touching anything on the controls, but you see it's dropping too fast. So I'm going to try to bring prograde back up a little bit. What it is about 120 meters per second is where you actually want to be for aerodynamics to really get a hold on it. I'm going to need to throttle up just a little bit more here. Okay, now you try to get your craft back into the center there. And you see how the prograde is now just slowly pulling us. We're going to slowly angle out. The goal is about 60 degrees. You want to be at about 10,000 meters. At about 20,000 meters, you should be around 45. So there we are, 10,000 meters, 11,000. And we just don't do anything. We let the aerodynamics of the craft actually dictate how we fly through the air. Now I can go ahead and throttle up a little bit more now. We're at 20,000 meters and we're about 45 degrees. But you notice our prograde's not caught up now. This is the point you want to turn SAS on. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to change SAS to follow prograde. And then I'm going to switch it to orbit mode. So now we're going to start following the orbit. So let's see, 40,000 meters. Let's see where we're at. That's good there. We'll go ahead and drop that off. I'm going to reset SAS because now I'm going to angle the SAS a little bit towards the ground. As soon as I hit atmosphere, I'm going to go angle at about 10 degrees below horizon. And now that I'm in the space, I'm going to go ahead and throttle up. Oh, did we not activate that engine? Okay. There we go. And what we're doing now is we're trying to circularize our orbit. So what I want is I want to get it to where we're lowering our apoaps a little bit. There's our periaps at 70,000. Our apoaps is below, for low orbit measurements. Low Kerbin orbit measurements, you have to be below 250 meters, 250,000 meters, or 250 kilometers. Anything above 250 kilometers is considered high orbit. And we are out of fuel. So yeah, now what we'll do is we'll go ahead and do all our scientific data. Turn off SAS. I'm only turning SAS on to balance the craft out. Now I'll turn SAS off. And what we're going to do is we're going to EVA. Actually, first we'll take a crew report. Crew report while in space near Kerbin. We'll keep that experiment. Then we'll EVA out. Take an EVA report. EVA report from space just above Kerbin's waters. Keep experiment. And we'll go ahead and store it. Now, since I'm working with a scientist here. A scientist can run experiments while on EVA. And you get a little bit more science from it. Usually on these. So this is material study bay while in space near Kerbin. Anything that says while near Kerbin is not going to be repeatable. While in space near Kerbin, we'll keep that. But what I am going to do is I'm going to come over here. I'm going to collect data. And I'll collect the data out of here. And then I'll go ahead and store these. Now let's go ahead and fast forward here. Now these are the... Yeah. Okay, this is land coming up, and then we're going to pass right over almost the South Pole. So, let's see here. Now I'll go ahead and slow down. And we'll do another EVA. Okay, reset that. I'm trying to get the shores. There it is. We'll keep that experiment. And then store it real quick. And then come back here. And do another EVA. Just above Kerbin's tundra. We'll keep that. And store it. Let's see, where are we now? Let's see. EVA. Ice caps. Keep the experiment and store it. Now you could just leave this up and leave this up so you can just cycle back and forth. See, now we're over the tundra again. Well, we already got the tundra. I'm going to come over here and try to grab onto... There we are. Now let me skip past this to our next goal. Now, things to note about Kerbin with biomes. Kerbin has a total of 9 biomes. Plus there's a lot of surface-only biomes that can only be obtained by actually being on the surface. Whoa! What just happened there? Oh wait, I know. Alright, can I set that as a target now? No. Alright, so we got... Our craft is now spinning recklessly out of control. Alright, well, let's see if we can get an EVA report. We're over the grasslands. Let's keep that experiment. And we'll store that experiment. Islands, we'll keep that and store it. See where we are. It's easier to do this during the daytime, obviously. And we should get some of the desert biomes and stuff once we get in there. I don't see any mountains on this trip, but the biomes that Kerbin has that you can collect from this adventure is ice caps, tundra, highlands, mountains, grassland, desert, badlands, shores, and water. Now we've already got the ice caps, tundra, highlands, and grasslands, so we still need mountains, desert, badlands. Actually, we got shores and water, so we just need mountains, desert, and badlands. I don't know why it's giving me desert and grasslands when it should be doing desert. Oh, okay, that's why. There was some grasslands there. Oh, keep that. Store it. We got the mountains. Now let's get our... Oh, there's our desert. So we got everything but the badlands. Now let's see, how long is it going to take before our badlands rotate around? And what you could do for this is double check, because you have been moving around, so make sure you're not falling into the atmosphere anywhere. Add a maneuver, hit circle on it, and then come down and hit plus a couple of times. So I'm going to hit plus twice. And then all I'm going to do is warp to next maneuver. And what that did is I'm now going to circle the planet twice while keeping an eye on the badlands, which are right here. If I remember correctly. Oh wait, no. The badlands are in here. I might have missed my opportunity for the badlands. We might have to wait till it comes around to daylight. But what you could always do, is just add a couple more cycles. Because, yeah, I definitely missed my Badlands. Sorry, I was looking at it wrong. Alright, so I've got the craft now over the Badlands area. The Badlands, if you come over to this big continent, you see this mountain right here? That's all by itself, and you got kind of crater marks over here. The Badlands is basically these beige colors here, are the Badlands. And that's how you can kind of tell when you're over the right area. Is just look for this one mountain that's all by itself with that coloring around it. So let's go ahead and get ourselves set up for EVA. Whoops. Stop the rotation. Okay. Turn off the battery. You want to turn SAS off when you're doing this because that way you're not using battery. So now we EVA. And we're going to start doing EVAs here and see if we can get one that says Badlands. So EVA, reset. Most of the time it's going to say Highlands because Badlands is really, it's an odd biome. I think it's actually one of the smallest biomes on Kerbin. That's that mountain I was telling you about, the one by itself. And we're passing just to the east of it, which is actually an area that doesn't have that much Badlands. Oh, that was a Badlands. And I skipped past it. The west side actually has more Badlands. The west and southwest area of this mountain has the largest Badlands biome. But just south of this, I should get, once I get past the mountain, I should be able to find some more Badlands. Come on. There we are. Keep it. We'll store it. Look at that. 12 experiments done. Okay, since I'm now 3 minutes away from the maneuver, I'll kind of explain what I'm doing. The reason I wanted to wait till I'm up to apoapse. Apoapse is your highest point in your orbit. It is also the point in your orbit where you're moving the slowest. So that means it's easier to do minor changes in apoapse that greatly affect your periapse, and vice versa. If you're doing the periapse, you can do maneuvers that will affect your apoapse, but since you're moving faster at your periapse, it actually takes more energy to change your apoapse. But if you're trying to extend your orbit, like get to Mun, it doesn't really matter in that aspect because we're talking minute amounts. But you see here, okay, right now our periapse is, let me go ahead and delete this. Our periapse is at 70,321. Well, turn SAS back on. Tell SAS to follow retrograde. Yeah. Okay. And I'm going to go ahead and rotate this craft on its side here. Okay, just like that. Now I'm going to go ahead and do an EVA. Let go. Orientate myself. And I'm going to go to the back of the craft. And what you want to do is you want to just push against the back of the craft. And what you're doing is you're actually, if you look at my orbit's slowing down some more. And I'm going to do this all the way up until we're almost to either, once we pass Apoaps. There we are. And what I'm doing is I'm using the EVA propellant, the RCS of an EVA pack, to actually start slowing my craft down. Look at that, we're past periaps, or apoaps, and we're still slowing down now. Once you pass apoaps, you're starting to head towards periaps, you start gaining speed. So I'll do this for a little bit more. Oops. Yeah, always make sure you keep your camera pointed in the direction you want your thrust to be moving. And we're still slowing our craft down. Alright, 1.65. I'll go ahead and head back into our craft. Oh, and to turn lights on in EVA, it's hold L1 or R1 and tap triangle. But what's nice about this is I can hop into my craft and then EVA right back out. And look at my EVA propellant is now full. But I'm not going to EVA this time. What I'm going to do is I'm going to come over here and I want to see my periaps now. Look at that. I got my periaps down to 61,850. So let's change our SOS to retrograde. Our SAS to retrograde again. And then we'll go ahead and EVA back out. Alright, so I finished up that burn, and look at that. I'm now down to 53,600 meters. Now that should be enough. I'm going to try it. We're going to go ahead and orbit that. And that should be enough to deorbit us. We'll see. I'm going to go ahead and point up here for now. Yeah. And then turn off SAS, and we'll fast forward a little bit. Drop our altitude. Alright, so here we are. We're about to enter the atmosphere. What I'm going to do is I'm going to flip this craft over, point prograde, and I'm basically going to follow prograde for a little bit. Actually, no, let's follow retrograde. We can do that, or you know what? That would give us the most drag, actually. And let's see if it's affecting our apoaps at all. See, our apoaps is dropping. Our periaps is dropping. But you want to watch your craft too, because as soon as you hit 50,000 meters, if you end up dropping down below 50,000 meters, you will start to heat up. But since we're, as you can see, we're not getting any heating right here. Let's see, we're 52,000, still 126. But our periaps is dropping too, so. Which is good. We might actually be able to enter into this orbit. And that's the reason I didn't drop the stage off yet. I didn't destage this. Oh, there we are. We're starting to heat up. That right there is telling us we're heating up. Alright, so what I'm going to do is SAS prograde. And the reason I'm aiming prograde is because when I detach this coupler, it's actually going to slow this piece down, causing it to actually drop. See, it slowed it down pretty decently right there. And now we go SAS retrograde. Alright, so there I am, about 14,000 meters, and we're really now in a thicker atmosphere. And we're starting to slow down a lot more. Oh, graphical reset right there. Restarted the planet. Not all of the planet's reloaded. There it goes. So there we are. We're trying to slow down. That's the shock wave right there from going the speed of sound. That's what you're seeing there. We're trying to get under 600 meters per second. We can deploy our first set of chutes. And our G-force goes up pretty high, but it slows us down to where we can deploy our secondary chute. And now we just float right down into the water. So we landed a lot earlier than I thought. I always thought we were going to be around here. So let's see how slow we're going to go once we deploy this next parachute. There, fully deployed. And we're right around 6 meters per second. If we were going a little bit faster than that, let's see here. 6.2 is where we're topped off. I think. 6.1, 6.2. Watch when I drop this heat shield. See that? We're now getting what? 5.5 meters per second. So we drop 0.7 meters per second by losing that heat shield. That dropping that weight makes it easier for us to slow down. So let's get Bob all the way to the ground. And then we'll see how much science we collected. Alright, so there we are. We got 122.0 science earned on that one flight by just doing basically EVAs. We got one Kerbal crew report while in space near Kerbin. Then we got one from the mystery goo and one from the material studies bay, or materials bay, or science junior as it's called. So minus those, so that's what, 35, 40 of the science was those. The rest of them were all EVAs. From EVAing around Kerbin. And then, oh, we also got 10 from recovering a vessel returned from Kerbin orbit. So there, we got a lot of science now. Let's see where we're going to spend it. I definitely want the Terrier engine and the larger fuel tank, so we're going to go ahead and research that. And let's see, if we go under here, basic science, we get our first basic probe, but we also get something else that will give us more science, a thermometer. Or I can come under aviation and we can build ourselves an aircraft, or better flight controls, or general construction. Well, this would be nice, the strut connector, but don't really need these two parts, the Rockomax parts, or this right now. Don't need the fuselage. Crew cabin would go good with the aviation. Don't need the flight controls. So I'm going to go with this since I only got enough to get one of these. I'm going to go ahead and go with this so I can do more science, because that's the whole goal of this, is to get science, right? And we get some radiator panels, but we're really not going to need those. The battery would be nice because then we can have more battery power, electrical charge with us. So yeah, I'll get this. So there, I got the basic science pack and the advanced rocketry. So I got the Terrier, the 909 Terrier, and the larger fuel tank. And what that does is it gives me a better orbiting engine. Because the ISP on this is a lot better than the other engines. And it uses a lot less fuel. It's got less thrust, but when you're in orbit, you've got all the time in the world to thrust to where you need to go. So that's why this is a better engine to have, because the VAC stands for vacuum. ASL stands for at sea level. So at sea level, this engine has an ISP of 85. But once we're up in space and we're out of Kerbin's atmosphere, we have a ISP of 345. The higher the ISP, the more fuel efficient your engine is. And you can see that by, if I come over here, you see here this has an ISP of only 300 in a vacuum, and this one only has an ISP of 320 in a vacuum. So that's why this is a better engine to have. This one's a good engine to have for launching. But there you go. We've got 38.8 science left to go. And yeah, we can get this all knocked out pretty soon. Now what I am going to do is ask again, okay, what kind of mission should I be doing? And what parts should I have on this craft for our launch? You know, I've already done the low orbit, collected all the science data from low orbit. And these are all the parts you're seeing now that I can use to build a craft. So yeah, what kind of craft should I build and where should I take it? What kind of scientific data should we be doing? Alright, I'll see you guys in the next episode. But drop your comments and let me know what I should be doing in the next episode. Till next time, bye!